Good morning, team. Hope you're doing really good today. Dividend stocks are great, but if you're closer to retirement or you just want more income right now, you might be looking for something with a little more juice. So in this video, we're going over the covered call, an easy way for the average investor to make much more income on stocks than if they own for the dividends alone. If that sounds pretty cool to you, you can like the like button and then subscribe to the channel for new videos every week. I'd really appreciate that. Now, the covered call and the cash secured put, they're the two basic options that you need to sell if you want to make income. Options, they act just like insurance, just like the insurance you buy if your car breaks. But with options, you can buy the insurance and you can sell the insurance. And if you want to do options the safe way, the way that makes you a bunch of income, then you need to sell the insurance. You need to sell the options. Imagine you have 100 shares of something sitting around in your brokerage account, just sitting there, doing nothing, no dividend or anything. You can still earn income from these shares, and that income is probably going to be much higher than a dividend yield. If you think the shares are just going to stay flat or maybe go down a little bit, then this would be the perfect time to use the covered call. The covered call is a promise we make to sell the shares that we own if the share price goes up. We're going to receive some money for making this promise called a premium, and you can choose how long this contract lasts, how long the promise lasts. You can sell contracts that expire on the third Friday of every month. These are usually called monthly contracts or monthlies. But some companies even let you sell options every Friday, every week. Let's look at an example. If you have some shares of something and it's trading for at about $70 and you think the stock price is going to go down or sideways or maybe at least not go up a whole bunch, you can make a promise to sell these shares if they go above $75. And this promise has to expire within a month or so. And in exchange, you get $100. Now we have to wait that 1 month to see what happens. The expiration date arrives, and if the stock price is below 75, the contract expires and you don't have to do anything. It's over and you just keep your $100 and you're $100 richer. But if the stock price shoots up to $80, then the lucky guy or gal who bought the contract, they're going to be able to pay you $75 for these shares that are currently trading at $80 now. And you have to sell for that $75. And I'm sorry, but you just lost out on about $5 a share. But it's not that bad because you did earn that $100 in the first place, and maybe you bought the shares for a good price a while ago and you're still up and you still have a profit. The big risk of selling covered calls is that you're going to have to sell the shares for lower than the current share price. But what if we don't want to hold these shares for a long time and we only want income? Well, that's what the wheel strategy is for. We start out with selling a cash secured put. That's just a promise to buy shares if they fall. We earn some money for that. And then if the shares are assigned and we buy them, then we sell covered calls against the shares again and we earn money that way. And if they get called away, we really don't care. As long as we're making this income, we're happy. And we just start selling cash secured puts again and start it all over. That's why it's called the wheel strategies, because it goes around and around and around. Another cool part of selling covered calls is that you can still earn the dividend if you hold the shares during the ex-dividend date. So you can get income in 3 different ways here: selling the put, selling the calls, and then earning the dividend. Let's look how the math works on this. The stock's trading for about $75. We sell a put for about $1 a share, or we get about $100. The strike price will be about $72. The amount we receive depends on a few things, but I'm just trying to keep the numbers simple here. The put is assigned at $72 because the share price falls. Then we sell a covered call, get another $100 in premium for that, and we have the shares during an ex-dividend date. So now we maybe it's like $50 dividend. So we bought the shares for $72 and we get $100 from the put, $100 from the covered call, and $50 from the dividend. Now, as long as we keep the strike price on the covered call the same as the put that we are assigned, then all this premium is going to be profit. And when it's all called away, we're going to have that $250 profit. But if the share price falls more, then we have a decision to make. If the share price falls more, it's possible that we're not going to be able to sell the covered call for the original strike price that we were assigned for enough money to be worth it. And it doesn't make sense to make $5 selling a covered call that expires in 6 weeks. And we can wait for the shares to rebound and not take any loss, but there's no guarantee that these share prices will rebound, or it could take years for them to come back. The way we protect ourselves against this risk is that we only sell puts and calls against quality companies that we believe in and that we're willing to hold for a long time. Two companies like Nikola Motors and Workhorse, they're two electric vehicle companies that were really trendy and people were selling options on to make really big chunks of income. Nikola Motors turned out to be a fraud of a company, and they're down 80%. And Workhorse, they're down 50% from its high because they lost a contract. So a company like those, it's going to be really hard to earn any premium to get back to even on that. Even for good quality businesses, it could take years for the share price to get back to new highs or reach a price that it was at before when you were assigned. So if you need the income, it might be best to keep selling covered calls against the shares. Even though the strike price is lower than before, you're reducing your cost basis. And if the shares do get called away from you, we just accept it and move on with our life. We can move on to a new position and start earning money again and not have opportunity costs hanging over our head. Covered calls also bring us an interesting little dilemma. Which gives us more money, buy or hold, or selling covered calls? For people who need the income now, buying and holding isn't really an option. Sorry for the pun, but I couldn't think of another way to say that. But if the goal is to build as much wealth as possible, we're running the risk of selling our shares for a much lower share price because of the covered call. Would we be better off holding the shares for a decade or two or selling these covered calls and getting that premium? Well, I fall back on diversification. Some companies I want to hold for years and I don't want to risk losing them over a covered call. So I have a few companies that are good companies and they offer good premium to sell options on, but I'm okay not owning them. They're kind of like my B team. They're these stocks that I cycle through using the wheel strategy to earn income. The best outcome for selling covered calls is that the share price increases, but never above the strike price. Then you get to keep the income and the shares that are appreciated in price. Now, there are a few things that affect the price of the option, like delta and theta and volatility. And if you want more explanation on how those affect option prices, I have some other videos that you can watch on those. That's the basic rundown of covered calls. If you find any value in this video, I really appreciate a thumbs up, and then you can subscribe to the channel for more videos every Monday. That's all I got for now. I hope you have a good day. Justin out.